Some say they have seen a gigantic living being, several stories high. We're all going to die. Oh no, run if you can, 'cause Tokyo, Japan is in for big trouble. Looks like Godzilla is real, and once he gets here, he'll reduce things to rubble. There's no time to pack. Run and don't look back. Careful where you hide. Many won't survive. By now he's well on his way, and you're gonna pay if you don't get to racing. But look up in the skies, we're facing demise from an alien invasion. Yes, he is destructive, and we hope he won't advance. But as it turns out, he might just be our only chance. Save the lizard, he will make a stand. City filled with screams and deadly laser beams. A full-scale attack. Can he hold them back? This is a dangerous place. The city's a waste. The battleground's epic. Both sides are pummeled and fried with nuclear eyes and death rays electric. Yes, he is destructive. We have seen this in the past. But as it turns out, it's an advantage that he has. Save the lizard, he will kick their ass. The air has gotten thick with broken glass and steel and brick. The aliens are no more. Hear Godzilla's mighty roar. And so the battle was won, and when it was done, he retreated to the ocean. And if we're ever attacked, I bet he'll be back, at least that's what I'm hoping. Yes, he is destructive, partly from gargantuan bird. But as it turns out, you know it could have been much worse. Save the lizard, he will save the earth.
Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Happy Sunday. I hope that you're having a great weekend, and I'm gonna set this up here. Welcome to the stream. I want to say hi to Vengeance and Todd over on the YouTube side, and Donna and Sherry over on the Facebook side. Welcome to our Sunday chat. Today we're going to have a focus on keto basics, like what do I do to get started. And if you have any other questions, like, you know, maybe you have a non-newbie question. Maybe you're a newbie, maybe you're not. If you have any questions, like to keep the discussion open to anything nutrition and health related. I am not a doctor. Hate to say this, hate to have to say this, but I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a licensed or registered dietitian or nutritionist. I am simply a guy who has done thousands and thousands of hours of studying. I cannot give you medical advice, but I might be able to answer some questions and get you pointed in the right direction. And hopefully, if you do need medical advice, you need to speak to a medical professional, a doctor, a nurse practitioner. You need to speak to a person who is in the health profession if you need medical advice. On the other hand, if you just want to know how to do keto, I might be your dude. Anyway, your doctor probably won't tell you how to do keto. But anyway, thank you, Vengeance, for bringing us the first thing. Let's see. I'm having some trouble with back pain right after I get done cutting grass. Well, you know, I used to be a person who suffered every day with tremendous back pain. And I can't say that I'm absolutely pain-free, but I do know that that a good ketogenic diet reduces the occurrence of inflammation. It's not an anti-inflammatory diet. Someone did clarify this to me, and I'm always trying to learn a better way to say things. Ketogenic diet is not necessarily anti-inflammatory. However, it is less inflammatory. So if you can reduce the occurrence of inflammation, then you may be able to reduce your occurrence of pain, chronic pain, autoimmune disorders, those kind of things. And hey, Sherry, howdy. Anyway, so that is that's my take on it. And I will say that I am a chronic pain sufferer. I have suffered with chronic pain since probably the beginning of 2009. And I have carpal tunnel. I've been diagnosed with carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, chondromalacia, which is a knee problem, and plantar fasciitis. All of these I used to have to a crippling degree to where I just literally could not function at all. And I'd love to say that I'm completely pain-free, but that's just not the case. What I do have is a state where if I'm not doing anything to aggravate my pain, then I'm pain-free. If I'm doing things that might typically aggravate that pain, then I'm going to have that pain. So for instance, I've just got a new warehouse job, and it's been aggravating my carpal tunnel pretty bad. I wake up with numb hands sometimes, in fact, most of the time. And in fact, my hands go numb sometimes when I'm playing guitar. So if I stop doing this, which they're going to change me into a different position, then probably the symptoms will change or go away. Things will go back to normal. So anyway, it's a great question. Chronic pain is something that ketogenic nutrition really does a pretty great job of addressing. At the very least, you won't suffer with all this pain. At least I don't in my idle time for the most part. So today my focus is going to be on keto basics, like where do you get started? How do you get started? And one of the main things I want to focus on is the emphasis on eating real food. Vengeance says, I know this is a touchy subject. Will medical marijuana help with chronic pain? So my experience with that, and I can speak from experience. I think most people can speak from experience if they're honest. So my experience with that is that it may take your mind off of the pain. I don't believe that pot takes the pain away, but it may be able to allow you to focus on things other than the pain, at least for a season. But I think after a while, I think if we're honest with ourselves, we may start using medical marijuana for legit reasons, and eventually we use it because we like brownies. That's just my opinion, and I know I'm gonna get blasted for that, but I'm speaking as a former total pothead. So most of my pain is gone, just hips and arthritis still ache. Yeah, I can speak from that place myself, Sherry. I'd love to say all the pain goes away. It seems like it seems like, you know, we can't actually, you know, fix all of the old injuries maybe, but we can reduce how much we suffer from them. So that is definitely something. Maybe next week I will do a focus on chronic pain and how keto affects it. Because keto really was like, you know, I hate to use this term in a cliche way, but it's kind of like the magic pill. For me, it's been like the silver bullet. Used to be a person who had to take Vicodin and ibuprofen and valerian root daily. It's just not so much the case anymore. So, yeah. Too easy to head down the wrong path. I found that I'm having trouble. Essential oil helps quite a lot. I'm not into essential oils, and to be honest, I haven't seen any kind of clinical studies on it or anything to show any kind of evidence. I think honestly, sort of like with exogenous ketones, right? There may be some amount of witch doctory to it. I'm not going to go out on a tangent and say that essential oils are all bunk. I just have not seen any kind of evidence to show their benefits. Personally, I have not seen that. And to be honest, a lot of people are using essential oils in diffusers and stuff like that, and the fragrances. I just cannot tolerate anything that's going to aggravate my sinuses or anything. So like the peppermint things and the stuff that smell like roses and things that smell like cinnamon and stuff. You know, I love cinnamon in coffee and in food and stuff, but to be honest, if it's going to aggravate my sinuses, I just can't do it. I can't deal with perfumes and soaps and anything like that. So I tend to steer away from the essential oil thing, but I tend to think that just like anything, and this kind of goes along with the keto basics thing, right? That a lot of it gets into marketing, and so we start talking about like products, right? So you can't just like, I mean, I'm sure there are people who make their own essential oils. I'm positive that happens. Okay, Lewis says wagworn. Not sure what that means, but I'm sure there are people who make their own essential oils, who can make their own essential oils. I'm sure that's possible, but the vast majority of it is going to be like some kind of marketing thing. Is going to be somebody selling you something. And one of the things that I wanted to well, hello, Lewis. One of the things that I want to talk about today in Keto Basics is avoid products. So even like the Atkins products, they claim them to be decent low carb products, I say stay away from them. I stay away from exogenous ketones, any of the ketone products that people are trying to sell. Those things. You fully look like an onion. Wow, that's great. Thanks. Any of the keto products, I tend to stay away from. I just say, just get food. You can, wow. Hey guys, if we can keep it classy in here, that would be great. So let me just do that. How about that? Anyway, guys, if we can keep it classy in here, and you know, I have nothing against vegans. However, I might totally disagree with them, and I might agree that veganism tends to be a cult. All right, guys. So if you can't keep it classy, we're just gonna say goodbye. Okay? So please keep it classy. Do me that favor, please. There we go. Anyway, you guys, we are, yeah, we're having some fun over on the Twitch side. So my apologies to any of you guys who are having trouble with that. Let me see if I can fix that, huh? There we go. Yeah, well, anyway. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's do this. Yeah, that didn't work either. Much as I'd love to see it work, it didn't work. There we go. Anyway. Yes, I agree, Sherry, that some work and some don't. That's probably the case. And some of it is probably a lot of psychosomatic. You know, people think that, like, for instance, menthol used in cough drops or in like vapor rub or something like that. People think that it helps to clear out their sinuses. What it actually does is it helps their sinuses to feel cool, and they think they're getting better airflow, which is not the case. So it's sort of psychosomatic, and it you know, helps to convince you that you actually are feeling something. It's just not what you think it is, and you may not actually be getting the kind of benefit that you think you'd be getting. Gorehound, you got it. I think I've already got you on here, right? As a mod, am I correct? And I think I've got you in here, right? Mod. Yep. There you go. Now you're a mod. Thank you. And yeah, it's let's just do that. Thank you. If we could just keep it classy, guys, it'd be great. Okay. Sorry for the distractions, folks. Anyway, so we're having a discussion today about keto basics, and despite the trolls' attempts to put all that to an end, let's just have a real great discussion. So if any of you guys have any questions about like how you are getting started, how to get started, one of the first things that I want to tell you is that there's a lot of mythology. Like I spoke about last week, how to get enough fiber on keto. Like you pretty much don't need to. You don't need to worry about getting enough fiber on keto. What you do need to focus on is you need to focus on your electrolytes. You need to focus on getting enough protein, and you need to focus on getting enough fat, just enough fat to make you feel full. If you feel full, you don't need to add more fat. There's no need to get your fats in, okay? I know I've heard a lot of people really saying, you know, you gotta get your fats in. You gotta get those fats in, and fats first. And I'm here to say that there's an extreme between fat phobia and there's fat first. It's almost a theology, and it's an ideology that is really extreme, and you don't need to get your fats in. You just need to make sure that if you're eating real food and you're eating the right kinds of food, you're getting your fats in. You're getting enough fats that your body really wants. You don't need to avoid fats. You don't need to avoid butter. You don't need to avoid, you know, your avocado oil or your olive oil or your T-bone steak. You don't need to avoid those things. That's one of the biggest obstacles to getting someone started on a ketogenic diet is one of them is fat phobia. Getting people away from this idea that fat is bad for you, that fat is intrinsically bad for you. It's just not. That's one of the main basics is you don't necessarily need to get enough fiber. If you like vegetables, you can eat vegetables. There's certain vegetables that you should avoid, ones that are really starchy. You should avoid like beans. I would say to avoid beans. Some people say that, you know, green beans in a certain quantity. I just say, you know what, stay away from beans when you first start out. You may be able to reintroduce some green beans later on, but really the part of the bean that is really good on a ketogenic diet is the pod part minus the actual beans inside. So if you're actually able to like whole your beans and take the pod and eat just the pod without the beans, then I would have no objection to that. But most people are eating, you know, copious amounts of beans. I've seen a lot of keto people eating plates full of green beans, and it gets kind of crazy. Beans are pretty starchy. Beans have a carb count. You have to watch that. So you don't like beans in general. So, and your friends will thank you for not eating beans. Your friends downwind from you will thank you for not eating beans. But you have to stay away from starchy vegetables, sugary vegetables like carrots. Potato is a root vegetable. You know, root vegetables are not that great for you, and they got a lot of starch in them. So that starch all turns to glucose in your blood. The idea for a ketogenic diet is that insulin is responsible for just about everything wrong with you. It's just, we could go down a long list, but I'm just going to say that the problem is too much insulin. And the insulin comes as a product of having high elevated glucose levels in your blood. So if you can reduce the blood glucose level, you can get the insulin out of the equation. You can get rid of a lot of inflammation that way. You can get rid of your insulin resistance and get rid of your diabetes that way, or at least you can get rid of the symptoms of those things, insulin resistance and diabetes. You may not be able to cure those things, but you may be able to reverse the symptoms of them. So that's the idea of doing a ketogenic diet. And most of the people who are struggling with weight gain, they're struggling with weight gain because they become insulin resistant. And if you are, the idea of insulin resistance is that elevated insulin levels in your blood as a result of having elevated sugar in your blood all the time. Your body's responding to the sugar by trying to get rid of it with insulin, but your cells eventually become hardened or resistant to that insulin, and so the insulin doesn't work anymore. Even though the insulin is there, the insulin doesn't work anymore. And some people actually turn from a type 2 diabetic to a type 1 diabetic, where their body just can't produce any more insulin because it's just done doing it. So that's the difference between a type 1 and a type 2 diabetic. Type 1 diabetic does not produce enough insulin to get the glucose out of their blood. We all need a certain amount of insulin. We just need it to get out of the way when it's done doing its job. And if we make it so that there's less of a job for the insulin to do, then that makes it easier for the insulin to get out of the blood when it's done doing its thing. So we do that by reconfiguring our food. We don't necessarily have to reduce calories so much not manually, not necessarily consciously, to reduce calories so much just to lose weight. A lot of times, all we have to do is just make sure we get the insulin out of the way. And what happens as a side effect of that is you find yourself less hungry. You find yourself, as a side effect of that, sort of automatically not eating quite as many calories because you don't feel like you're starving all the time. So that way you end up automatically sort of eating less calories in the long run. I will say, when I first started out doing keto, I did not reduce my calories at all. I still lost some weight. Initially, I still lost, I don't know, 30 to 40 pounds, like in 3 months, just not reducing calories at all, just reducing the amount of carbohydrate that I was eating dramatically. And when blood sugar goes down, you feel like crap on keto. Is that just withdrawal? Part of it is, yeah, I do believe that sugar is highly addictive. I do believe that when you are suffering from carbohydrate withdrawal, which I think is a real deal, I think that you end up with a crash, and you just really jones for the sugars at first. That took me a while to get over. And I did a live video on Facebook about that as I was making like some keto ice cream, and it was kind of a late night live, and I just talked a little bit about tricking your body not to beg you for carbohydrates so much, especially in the beginning. But it is sometimes it's withdrawal. A lot of times when you first start keto, it's just your electrolytes. Some people find that drinking a cup of pickle juice gets them through that. It gets them enough electrolytes to take the edge off and get them back on track. Some people find that, using a particular amount of potassium and magnesium and sodium, getting their salts in, staying hydrated, helps you to keep enough of your electrolytes. What's happening is initially on keto, you pee like a racehorse, because when you're peeing all the time, it's causing you to just pour out electrolytes. And so you end up short on electrolytes a lot. You end up losing a lot of electrolytes doing that. And so when you're losing your electrolytes, that's what makes most people feel like garbage. The cramps are almost always an electrolyte problem. The constipation is almost always an electrolyte problem. I talked about that quite a bit in last week's live stream. If you haven't watched the live stream from last week, you might, if you're concerned about getting enough fiber and you want to know more about electrolytes, go back and watch last week's stream. Yes, it's an hour-long stream, but yes, it may save you days and days of researching the internet for information regarding what's wrong with me when I'm just getting on keto. So constipation is not a fiber thing. It's an electrolyte thing. A lot of those muscle cramps and the horrible feeling, almost all of the keto flu symptoms are caused from electrolyte loss. In fact, just like when you have the flu, a lot of your problems, a lot of the reason why you feel like garbage when you have the flu is because of losing electrolytes in your sweat, in your pee, in your throw up, in your whatever. I know it's all TMI, but yeah. When your blood sugar goes down, you're going to feel like crap anyway, but once after the first few days, like 2 or 3 days of doing keto, your blood sugar should be pretty much normalized. And a lot of what you're feeling is just your electrolyte imbalance. So, and if you're not eating foods like products like, Atkins bars or shakes or something like that, that have a bunch of junk in them that may elevate your insulin levels anyway, despite the fact that you're trying to cut carbs, and you're eating something that's supposed to be cut, low carb, those products a lot of times have things that spike your blood sugar, like maltitol and maltodextrin. They're just like sugar, except maltitol is more like a laxative sugar. But I mean, they just act like sugar. They spike your blood glucose pretty bad. Anyway, there's that. My main thing is that I think that a well-formulated ketogenic diet should be primarily coming from a well-rounded diet of mostly meat. You should have your diet should revolve around fatty meat. You can have some vegetables if you like vegetables. If you don't like vegetables, you don't have to have vegetables. What you do have to have is some electrolytes. You need to make sure that your electrolytes are, you can get like a third or more of your potassium and calcium from meat, for instance. But you may need to supplement even more. You probably won't want to supplement with a calcium supplement, but you can eat like kale or sardines. A can of sardines will give you like 30% of your daily intake of calcium. You can get your calcium also from just regular meat that you eat. But good strong bones don't come from just eating calcium. Good strong bones, and along with the other needs for calcium as an electrolyte, good strong bones come from putting stress on your body, putting stress on your bones. Lifting weights, or jumping rope, or riding a horse, or something like that causes impact on your bones will stimulate your body to put calcium into your bones and strengthen your bones. And but I do believe that a good, well-rounded ketogenic diet should be centered around fatty cuts of meat. You can eat chicken with your skin on. You can eat fatty fish like salmon if you like it. I hate fish. I eat sardines a lot for the calcium, and they're full of healthy fats, but I just hate fish. I do. And you know what? And some would say that I'm going to hell for hating fish, but I just cannot stand it. I just don't like it at all. And you guys can laugh at me if you want. It's fine. Trolls are gone. Thank you, Gorehound, for taking care of that business. Appreciate that very much. Taking care of business over there on the Twitch side. I'm not sure if the Restream bot is working today. Is it? Restream bot is, yeah, it is working. Okay, cool. A Restream bot was timed out and now it's back. Okay. Yo, you timed out Restream bot? Why did you do that? Restream bot is there to echo stuff from, oh, I see, because it was echoing stuff back. I got it. Never mind. You're a smart man. All right. And let me go back over here. We are going to be doing a book giveaway this hour. I didn't want to really promote it. I think that one of the things that's been kind of getting on me is the idea of this promotion stuff and self-promoting. And I think, having a little blurb here to say, hey, follow me, that's great. That's going to go away. We'll have some occasional things that come across a little ticker eventually, but most of this promotional stuff is going to go away. And it's mostly going to be like, I'm going to mention it in the video, and that's pretty much going to be it. But one of the things that I'm going to be giving away, I do have some books here, a stack of books. And if you want more details on the books that I'm giving away, you got it, Gorehound. I understand. Totally got it. For beginners who want to get started on keto, the new Atkins for New You is a great way to get started. I will preface that by saying that the Atkins book tends to talk about reintroducing healthy grains. I don't think there are any healthy grains, and the Atkins books tend to push a lot of Atkins products. and I don't recommend any of the Atkins products. Otherwise, the principles in the Atkins books are pretty good. They also talk about eating soy, which I think soy, and Atkins products have a lot of soy. I don't think soy is good for you at all, even if you got non-GMO soy. So if you like soy sauce, try coconut aminos instead. Then we have Why We Get Fat, which I think is actually a better book. Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It by Gary Taubes. And Gary Taubes is a great science writer, and he has put together a great food list in here, which does include soy sauce, hilariously. But I think that's maybe the only thing I disagree with in there. Yeah, you're right, Gorehound, on that, about the Twitch, the echoing back and forth of the Restream bot. So I'll figure all that stuff out eventually, and I'll get some kind of a moderator bot, something or other, that's going to take care of this business. But the sad part of it is that the Restream chat picks that stuff up even if you moderate it out on the Restream side. My only alternative is to go and shut off that scene and bring back the scene, bring back the next scene. So yeah, kind of a pain, but anyway, so I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. If you do want to get either of these two books or any of the other books that are in the list in the description on Facebook or YouTube, will be in the description later on Twitch, on the replay. But I see. But if you want any of those books and you haven't won anything in the last 4 weeks, which nobody has, because I haven't sent out, nobody's asked for any books in the last 4 weeks. So if anybody wants a book, one of the books that I have on my list today, then just let me know and just say that you're interested in the book. And anybody who says so in the next 15 minutes or in the next 24 hours on this video, I will send them out a book. So the first, I'm saying the first person who says that they're interested, I will give them a book. And I'm going to kind of go back and forth between people who are the first and people who are randomly picked and stuff like that. So I'm not going to try to keep it predictable or anything, because I want people to be interested in the content of these videos for the content of these videos. So in essence, a well-formulated ketogenic diet is no sugar. You get rid of all sugar out of your diet. So you don't eat any sugar. You don't eat any bread. There's no bread. There's no grain. So that means no rice, no oats, no quinoa, no ancient grains, none of those things. There's no grain. There's no buckwheat. Those things all turn into glucose. And you may think, oh, it's an ancient grain. It's not, frankenfood like modern day wheat. You know what? It all turns to glucose because it's all starch. And it turns to glucose, and much of it turns to glucose faster than table sugar. So think about that. A slice of whole wheat bread turns to glucose faster, twice as fast as table sugar does in your blood. So just know that. And Ben Fury of Sugarbriety did a great video talking about which one is better, 4 teaspoons of sugar or a red delicious apple. And he pointed out that a red delicious apple is mostly fructose, which can only be processed in the liver, whereas 4 teaspoons of table sugar is half fructose and half sucrose. And so table sugar is half as impactful for the liver as an apple. So an apple is twice as likely to lead you to fatty liver disease than table sugar. Yeah, your doctor, some of your doctors are idiots. I'm just going to say that. And I've been an idiot before, and I know lots of doctors. I know lots of keto doctors who would say that they used to be an idiot too. And so there is a cure for being an idiot, and that is learning something about keto. And ancient grains are not, I don't think that there's any grains that are good for you. And you know what? You can eat them in a time of famine when you don't have any cattle to kill. But in the end, when you look at ancient civilizations, they have exhumed some mummies from Egypt who ate primarily grain during times of famine. These people ended up with massive amounts of tooth decay and diabetic symptoms and atherosclerosis. There was all kinds of evidence of failed pancreas and stuff like that in these ancient mummies that ate primarily grain for their diet. So go figure, ancient grains may not be all that great for you. And you may say, hey, Bryce, you're missing a few teeth too. Yes, but since I started keto, my teeth cleanings take about 15 minutes. So there's that. I have had a lot of dental work done to fix all my prior mistakes of not taking care of my teeth as a kid. So, but since I started keto, my teeth have improved dramatically. At least the rate of decay, anyway. Let's just put it that way. So we have about 15 minutes left of this program, this stream. And if you are watching this and you think that it's useful, I would encourage you to go over to the YouTube side and grab the link for this video from the BroBryceHealth channel on YouTube and share that video with people, because at the end of this broadcast, I'm going to delete the Facebook video and I will repost the link for the YouTube video. So if you want to watch the replay, you'll be watching it on YouTube, because Facebook has a tendency to delete my stuff without warning, and I'm not having it. So just so you know, in the next 15 minutes after this stream is over with, I will be deleting the Facebook copy of it and reposting the YouTube link. And you can interact with it there. You're welcome to do that. Any other questions regarding keto basics, whether you're a newbie or not? And Donna, it's really great to see you in here. Are you still, if you're still watching, hang out and say a howdy ho, and any questions that you have. I know you you said you started a while back, so be interested in seeing if you have any questions. Just got a nice alert on Facebook. There was a post about cast iron skillets versus Teflon, and that was something that was very interesting. I was watching that. She posted a video from a store where she was talking about non-stick cookware, and I tend to agree that Teflon coating is outdated and probably hazardous to your health. And cast iron is probably the best option for you, but a properly maintained cast iron, you shouldn't actually get iron from the cookware. You probably won't get iron from the cookware in your diet. Most likely the seasoning will isolate the iron from your food, but so be it. And I'm also open to talking more about, if any of you guys have anything more to say about essential oils, you know, if you have a way that I can learn more without being sold to, that'd be great. I'd like to learn, you know, if there are any kind of studies done to show benefits of using essential oils. But for today's talk, mostly what I want to focus on is like just eat real food, right? So you want to eat real vegetables, real fats, avoid refined vegetable oils. That's another topic that I didn't get into yet, but avoid refined vegetable oils. So canola oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil. And to be honest, when you see the term vegetable oil on an oil, it's not really vegetable oil. Canola is not a vegetable. And so, I mean, technically it's, animal, vegetable, mineral. It's vegetable in that term, but it's not vegetable that you eat. It's a grass. So it's not really a vegetable. Canola and soybean oil, they require a high temperature chemical process that really destroys any kind of nutritional value that they would have, although the nutritional value that they would have would be pretty inflammatory anyway, because of the anti-nutrients in soy basically prevent you from really being able to use any nutrients that you take in through the day. Aww. Well, they're still lurking. Okay. Well, as long as they're not sitting here trolling, right? Excellent. Well, thanks for keeping an eye on them over there, Gorehound. Pretty awesome of you. I appreciate it. I know sometimes you can't stick around, so today it's really appreciated that that you're on top of it. And I also know that there's another popular Facebook keto person that is streaming in the same hour as me and does a live Q&A during this time. So I realize that some people part ways. She's actually better at this than I am. I was hoping someday to be able to get her on as a guest, but we have kind of conflicting schedules on this. So sad, but I love you out there, Kim. If you're watching this, if you're watching this, then you're not live streaming, but I think you're live streaming, so you're probably not watching this. And in fact, you're probably at Keto Fest, so you might not even be live streaming. Some people are at Keto Fest and they're watching live streams from Keto Fest or whatever. So Keto Fest is going on in New London, Connecticut. I was hoping that by this time that Dave Rosenboom and I would be able to go. Tried to go a couple of years ago, couldn't raise up enough funds, couldn't raise up any funds. I do want to let you guys know about my Patreon. I hate to do any kind of promotion or anything, but I do this stuff, out of a conviction from my heart, and I believe a conviction from God to share this stuff with you. I consider keto to be the gospel for this side. Whether you're a believer or not, but I do buy things like I bought a mixer, I've bought some audio gear and some other gear for doing this, and I'm just asking if you find that this is useful to you, if you could support it by visiting my Patreon, at least taking a look at it. If you feel like it's worth supporting, then throw something in there. And if not, thank you for visiting anyway. And Sherry just sent me a message that she lost Facebook on the feed. So doesn't surprise me. Facebook has not been friendly to my live streams lately. But there's always the YouTube side, and you're always welcome to join on the YouTube side. I encourage anybody who is not who's not aware yet, at least the YouTube side tends to give accurate alerts when people are live, so you can set up notifications. You can see that what I put over here for the subscribe button, that shows the little bell notification. So if you click on that subscribe button, click on that bell notification icon, and then that will let you know that that I'm online or that I'm about to go online. If I schedule my posts, then you'll see a little thing over there that will pop up on your phone. It'll pop up in your email, tells you that I'm about to go live. And then when I do go live, it goes live. So anyway, yes, thank you for the message there, Sherry. I appreciate it. But the YouTube side is always active, and the Twitch side is also active. More active today than ever. It's sad that that when I get the most activity on Twitch, it's usually trolls. That's because Twitch is harder to moderate. YouTube's a little easier to moderate. Anyway, you guys, we got about 5 minutes left of this stream. If you guys have any questions, any more questions. This particular chat kind of reminds me of when we first started doing these. The first few months that I was doing these, didn't have any questions come up at all. I really feed on when you guys are giving me good questions. So on the Twitch side and the YouTube side, we got it. Yeah, we're up to date. Okay, so I'm not missing anything. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about that pain. You know, some people say turmeric. There's some other people that think that turmeric is actually kind of another witch doctor-y product thing. Using turmeric or curcumin. Turmeric is usually like the active ingredient in cumin. And cumin being, you know, like the primary taco seasoning, for instance. But turmeric is a great thing, I think, for helping with inflammation. So if you have some turmeric around, or a lot of times even if you eat some spicy food, like eat some really spicy food, if you like really spicy food, if you eat spicy food, sometimes I find that it has a kind of endorphin effect. Makes you sweat, makes you feel kind of euphoric a little bit. There you go. Welcome to Twitch, Sherry. Oh, can't post comments on YouTube. That's weird. Huh. The chat over there seems to be, I think it's working. That's weird. Okay. Well, Twitch is working, and I'm happy to have you here. Now that we have like 3 minutes left of the stream. So Sherry, do you have any really great questions? Like some questions that newbies ask, like maybe a question that might have stumped you that someone has asked you recently. Because I know Sherry's kind of taken on this role of sharing the gospel of keto, the good news of keto on this side. So I know a lot of people ask you questions, and I know sometimes I get questions that stump me. So if you have any good questions that some newbies have asked you, maybe it'd be worth discussing here in the last couple of minutes. Eating good keto when family doesn't. Oh my goodness, that's a great question. I know, especially in the beginning, temptation calls out to you. So if it's possible to eat separately, it's a real challenge to do it when you're eating with someone. And when the cupboards are full of that food, it calls out to you. Like when there's cookies, or even when there's mashed potatoes, or like I'd be at my mom's house and they'd be making some mac and cheese. My mom's mac and cheese was to die for. Well, if there's a way that you can eat separately, And honestly, being carnivore kind of makes that simple. It's still a lot of temptation, but you know what the rules are. Like, you set down rules, right? Ice cream and popcorn are hard. Yes. Popcorn at the movies was something that my wife had always called out to her. So like popcorn, the trick that I gave her was, I said, I take 2 tablespoons of butter and put it in a ramekin, a glass ramekin, put it in the microwave for 15 seconds and let it, or, you know, however long it takes to melt it. And then add a drop of vanilla and 1 or 2 drops of stevia in it, and just slam it like a shot. And next thing you know, she basically she's like, oh my gosh, right? At first she was like, that's gross, right? Now she's like, dude, that was the bomb, right? Why, you know, I just had popcorn, right? Really, all you had was the butter flavor and the vanilla and a little bit of sweetness, and there you go. And ice cream, you know, it's real easy to make your own little ice cream on the fly. You know, you can use some cream cheese and some whipping cream, whip it up and put it in the freezer, and 10-15 minutes later, bust it out and have yourself some keto ice cream. So yeah, that's the way to do it. But eating separately, like, I know a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on eating together with your family, and that makes, you know what, if your health is on the line, dude, eat separately. If your health is on the line, really, I mean, there is a boundary to be drawn there. So that's one thing that might be the trick, is eating separately. For me, I was really blessed that my wife finally got on board when I finally said, you know what, I'm gonna do this regardless of, you know, whatever you're gonna do, I'm gonna do this. So anyway, you guys, it is 5 o'clock and I am done with this broadcast. And thank you for that last great question there, Sherry. It's awesome. That's something to think about. Maybe a whole focus on a show for us would be to do that. Next week, I want to talk about chronic pain. So if you want to check us out next week at 4 p.m. Pacific time, I will be doing a talk about ketogenic nutrition and chronic pain, because I'm like the poster child for both. So I want to bring it up. I want to talk about it. And we're going to hammer on chronic pain. And yes, it is possible, Gorehound, to make chocolate ice cream. And if you want, I will teach you how. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend, the rest of your Sunday. And we're going to just close out today's show with some Glenn Case music. Y'all have a great night and talk to you soon.
And the sprinklers turn on. The time I saw what happened in my mind, it would come true, though, before long. I'm not blind, girl, I must confess. You could scorch muffins if you touch them when you wear your evening dress.